morning, it's the 13th of February 2023. Just came in the shed and it's only 4.9 degrees in here. It's actually colder in the wind chill, but it's a beautiful day. Let's see what we get done today. Right into the greenhouse, some gardening videos today I think. As you can see, my poor lemon trees and citrus trees have probably bit the bullet, but I'm going to uproot these and put them into dry compost with perlite and see if we can't get them to come back. Nothing lost if they don't, other than a bit of time potting them up. Absolutely destroyed by the look of them. They've probably gone, but we'll give them a try. But this soil is sopping wet, and citrus don't like the feet wet as well. I didn't realise this was going to get this bad in here. I'm not sure why. It's the I think this thing's actually leaking in this polytunnel. I might reskin this one sometime in summer. Into this polytunnel for a check. You can see the little snowball cauliflowers are now trying to make a go. One or two have given up the ghost completely, but the garlic and the onions seem to be still coming on. The cabbages are actually looking quite nice, fingers crossed. We've obviously lost our peppers and everything else we were trying to overwinter. Again, this peach has lost all of its foliage, as you can see, and it's now coming into bud. The cabbages are starting to look quite nice. Want a couple of the bottom leaves taken off and a bit of a tidy up on these beds. The lettuces are now starting to grow, as you can see. The garlic is doing pretty much okay. This is my own garlic, third year garlic. In here we've got shop tiny wee garlic and a couple of nice lettuces coming here as well. And then we've got the German giants, sort of from here all the way to here. All of that's the German giant that I bought in. Red onions, Japanese onions, and more Japanese onions. Now this has been getting damp, because you can see, because of the green, but it is actually pretty dry on the surface, so that's further down. This one seems to dry out better than the other polytunnel. Perhaps the citrus trees would have been better in this one. Yeah, lovely and dry. And these have never been watered since we were put in these. None of this has been watered since we were put in. There's some strawberry runners here. They are still alive. How, I do not know. But we'll get some of them potted up while we're off. I've got various cauliflowers and more garlic. This garlic has had it. It's rotted off. Too wet, even though I didn't water it. Some of this is dead. There might be one or two still alive, but no, they've had it as well. These ones are still very much alive, but they've almost dried out. These ones, red onion, are still very much alive, with the exception of one. Those ones at the back, the ones that are driest, have fared the best. Teddy King's Sweetheart strawberries, they will be getting washed shortly. Taken out of the pot, roots washed, plants washed, and then repotted or straight into a bed. I always like to take potted plants out because of the vine weevil, wash it all down, wash the roots, wash the entire plant, and transplant it again. And they seem to handle that shock transplant pretty okay. I have some dwarf kale here ready started. It's not looking best, but it will make out. Once that's transplanted, it will make out. So it was Tony's birthday yesterday, the 12th of February, Sunday, and he came up and paid me a visit. And we didn't do any video yesterday, but what he did do for me was we've got all of these beds finished now. Everything's ready to go. So we've got fresh compost on there with seaweed in, fresh compost on there with seaweed in. Likewise with this one. We now have these 3 beds filled up. These are just dressed with the cheap compost, and then on 1 bag of well rotted cow manure on the top on each of these 3 beds. These are the other beds we dressed with my own compost, and like I said, once it washed through you'd see some wood chip on the top, which should hopefully act as a weed suppressant, but all the goodness is washing down into the bed. So then we had a couple of bags left over as well, and I'm not sure whether we showed you this one, but we got this one dressed and these 2 dressed, and then we had enough just to give these a bit of a dressing up as well, as you can see. And this one we just put another couple of bags on the top of here, and this one here as well. So that's every single one of the beds now have been dressed. I'll tell a lie, these 2, this one here hasn't, and the one where the cabbages are, which I also took the covers off yesterday and I cleared all the dross from underneath. So the cabbages are still ticking along nicely, and very shortly we'll be able to harvest these as an early crop. But yeah, we'll give that a bit of a clean out as well. These haven't had any new compost this year, but they were only done in September. The bottom beds weren't. This was done in September, and these were all done in September. But we've used the compost up, basically what I had, and so was that. That was done last year as well. But we might as well just use that compost up, and yeah, that's it all on there now. I'm ready to go. Maybe get another 1 bag for that, but I've got some over in the dry area, so I'm all ready to go. We'll probably start getting some of those onions and strawberries, etc, 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 in some of these beds, either today or tomorrow. So I managed to get myself a set of lockers as well, with keys. There's 1 lock missing off there, but they're only pennies on eBay. All functional with keys, so we can make use of these. They aren't staying there, they're just in here for now. We'll find a place for those when we have a bit of a tidy out in this garage again. We brought in the flue pipe now for the stove. That's going to be another job to do, and we ran this again yesterday, and it's fantastic. I had it on probably an hour and a half or something like that, just while I was pottering in here. We've got the barrel set up now. Still need to fire cement around the hole once we do the test, but I'm not doing that until we've got some water in. But what I did do is I ran this diesel heater as is with no water in to harden all of this fire cement down here on the inside and the out. And I was checking round the barrel, even with no water in, to see how hot the barrel got, and I could actually touch the fire cement around it, and the plastic remained cool. So I was more surprised than it was actually much cooler than I thought. So I think the wrapping of the exhaust bandage round first at the entry point made all the difference. Now then, we just need to find out if we've got a water seal on this. Right, it's 6.5 degrees in here. Take no notice of the time, I never ever set the time on this, but it's 6.5 degrees in this garage with the door closed, and I've just put the diesel heater on now on full power. So I'm going to leave that running, and we'll come back a bit later and see how long it takes to heat this garage up. I've got the pipes going in various different directions, including down to this chair. Okay, so let's just leave it running and we'll see how long it takes to heat the garage up. So you can see I've got it on now, and I've still got no water in here. And you can probably see the heat from this exhaust perhaps. And I can't touch this exhaust. But what I can do is I can touch all around here. And the barrel is stone cold. And where the fire cement is, it's barely warm to the touch. So, I'm going to let it harden a little bit more while this is running. So nice to see the sunshine for a change. It is cold, but it's so nice to see the sunshine. Right, I'm going to get on and get the first plantings of the year out. We're going to get this lot in, and we'll just see what happens with them. Right, I saved you the pain of watching me plant these. I think everybody knows how to plant plants. I'm not going to try to teach anyone how to milk ducks. So in here we filled this entire bed with what was left over of the red onions and spread them out a good size. I'm hoping for good things with these red onions in this bed. Let's see what happens. That's me grapevine, which if you haven't already seen, I'm going to train across this fence and all the way down here eventually. Then in here I've got shop garlic, which were large cloves that were just what was left over in the house, and I brought them up and planted them down here. Then we have 2 red onions, just because they'll be easy identifiable, and it was what was left over of these red onions here. So these are all red onions. And the reason I'm doing this video is because if the birds pull these out and they've gone, I mean the red onions will be obvious, but knowing which garlic this is will be different altogether if they disappear. So they're shop garlic, large, they were large cloves. So we'll see how they do. Moving on. I've just salvaged what was the best of the little plants, and I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but in here I have what, there was no label, I'd lost the label. I think the Primo cabbages, but I'm not certain. So there's 5 of those we've planted, and then there's 2 of my own 3rd year garlic, and these are all my 3rd year garlic as well. And the idea between the garlic in the same bed is to hopefully deter pests. We don't know how that's going to pan out. And then in here I took the 6 best, although they're not good, of the cauliflowers, snowball cauliflowers. I just took 6 out, threw the rest away. And it's like this: if they do anything, it's a bonus. If they don't, we pull them out and put something in its place when it germinates. Nothing ventured and nothing gained. Moving round, I've took out 8 of the small kales, curly kale, the dwarf curly kale, and I've 8's too many, but I'll put them in anyway, just say in case birds pull any out or some don't make it. And I've reason to believe that we will, as long as the birds leave them alone and the weather isn't too severe, we will get these up to harvest. So there's 4 in the end of this bed, and I've put 4 on the end of this bed as well. This is actually good compost. It is very fine. You can see where just a couple of millimetres down, you can see it's lovely fine stuff. Yes, there's some big bits, but it's all came to the top now that it's washed down. So yeah, fingers crossed. If they don't make it, we'll plant some more. It's simple as that. And the other good bonus is these cages. If you haven't already seen how I made these in earlier videos, pop back and take a look. But I've got those planted now, and at least to give them a chance, we'll give them some protection. I'm going to pull these broccoli out. They did form small heads, little wee tiny things, but the frost got them, and that was the end of that. So they're going in the compost heap, and I can get that cage back now and put it on these cauliflowers and see if we can get those up. So that was nice and quick. We now have the other cover on as well. And basically, if you haven't already seen, all I do with these is I just drive a screw in through the side of the bed, not all the way in, just so it gets all of these. As you can see, and that basically it holds these nice and tight should any winds get up. Now then, it's not foolproof with the gales we get up here, and although today is a beautiful day, I'm under no illusion we're going to get more gales, torrential rain and hooligan winds long before these will ever be ready, if they're ever ready. But all we can do is do our best. So yeah, these particular ones are made out of plastic, which I've since discovered is not UV treated. It's the stuff that we put on the outside of this, and as you can see, disintegrated. But so far they're holding out. Maybe get another season out of these. We won't replace them until we have to, and then it'll just be a case of cutting the plastic off and putting new plastic on, and or Enviromesh. So this is Enviromesh on the top, so they've got the airflow and they can get the rain. But the plastic just to keep the cold winds off, and yeah, mini greenhouse in effect, but with air circulation. So let's just see if at all these make it. The onions and the garlic aren't getting covered because predominantly, barring the odd jackdaw first investigating the new plants, might pull the odd one out or a blackbird, but predominantly these will. They're fairly big now, they might not get touched. Fingers crossed, we'll just wait and see what happens there. Right, that's another jobbed. So I've now put 4 of these dwarf trees into this little bed here. That's the Worcester pearmain that was in a pot, and I've planted that into the bed now. There's some garlic chives from last year still, which we're leaving in. Another little dwarf tree here, unknown variety with a foreign label on it. We'll wait and see what it tastes like. If it's horrible, we'll graft it. This one is a graft, and I know at least one graft is golden delicious. This is my little pomegranate tree, which we bought when it was about this big. As you can see, it's filling out. We'll see how it does this year. It only went in this bed last year, been out all winter. And then last but not least, an odd shaped little tree, dwarf tree, again an unknown variety. The label's disappeared, but yeah, let's see how they get on in here. I still have 2 more over there, and they will be planted over round about where Echo and Molly are buried, somewhere around there I think. Get another jobbed today, and that'll be another good jobbed. So these trees, they need to go in now. They should have been in earlier, to be honest, but this is the first half decent day and time off I've had in order to be able to do this. So I believe, unless these labels have got mixed up, this one is a golden delicious on a dwarf, and then we have another one of the foreign apples. I'm not sure what it is. And then this one here is a dwarf apricot, and apricots will grow outside. So what I've decided, I've dug 3 holes here now, and I'm going to plant them in this shaded area so the sun hits the back of this and radiates heat, and they'll be brought more forward to the hole, to the front, not too close to the back of the shed. I still have this area to clean up, and there will be more trees will go down here once we get this area cleared up. So once they're in, what we'll then do is we'll get some membrane down, wood chip like we did with the other bed down there, and put a little border on here. So I'm coming with a lawnmower and cut round these, and hopefully they'll stay relatively weed free. 3 trees planted: dwarf apricot, dwarf apple, golden delicious, unknown, but we'll graft that onto there if we don't like them, and vice versa, we might make them into duos depending on how nice these are. And then the apricot. Now these flower very, very early on. I'm not sure whether this year it will do so after that move, but you never know. We've sort of got till the end of February, and then it should start to possibly flower. Right, and just because we've cleared this shelf down a bit now, what I've done is I've brought the seedlings that was in the dry area up there down here, because you can see they're just getting a little bit on the leggy side for light, so they get more light in here. And not only that, when the sun does shine, I'm not sure whether you can see, but yeah, it's 12 degrees or something in here, and it's been a little warmer than that when the sun was actually shining direct on it, so at least they will get a bit more warmth as well. Right, you haven't seen me today, have you? No, you haven't. I bet you're saying I'm pleased about that. Right, so basically that's a really good day. I hope it hasn't dragged on too long, but at least we've got a minute start in the garden now. We've got something planted outside. Again, don't be an Alan and put all your vegetables outside. I'm just doing this experimentally. We're only in the second week in February. However, I've put those out what I think. I just had the plants, so I thought throw them in. Yeah, the garlic and the onions will be fine. But things like cauliflowers and cabbages, kale, they're pretty hardy and they should be okay. Whether they'll come to anything because of when they were planted, I really don't know. But I'm pretty sure the kale will, the collies and the cabbage may or may not. Who knows? Got quite a bit done today, haven't I? Yeah. Got all the trees in that was sitting along that back fence. Three or four in that bed. 3 round the back of this shed here now. In the final place where they're staying. No more moving them. I still need to get the membrane down and the wood chips on, and yeah, but it's gone bitterly cold out there now, so I'm not going to bother. So, right, babbled on long enough. I didn't get the water in that barrel because I wanted to get the plants sorted, basically. That's that job now. So tomorrow morning I'll probably put the water in the barrel and do the water test. It's worth a try. Right, as always guys, wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, be practical, and keep yourselves out of harm's way. Thanks for all your likes, dislikes, comments, suggestions, subscriptions, donations. It really is appreciated. The only reason I do these is for you. So until next time, stay safe and thanks for watching.